Good afternoon, sir. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. You tell me.
Please come back on campus. We miss you.
I know. I do intend to. I do intend to. But somehow my work here at the new center has not given me enough time to, come there. But probably in coming sometime next month, I will definitely drop in, or probably bring you guys to this place, at least the third year students to this particular campus and do something. But yeah, I do miss the vibe. The this place has got very different environment. So I do miss the university engagements, talking to you guys, and all that. So yeah, I do miss that.
And here you'll be engaging with pretty elder crowd.
A little older crowd,
Yeah.
because it's an executive education space. So, but then not necessarily we are engaging in this space only with the corporate executives. So Minerva is a center which is needed for all stakeholders, so including school children, school teachers, school principals, also college professors, people from homemakers. We just did a workshop for homemakers on the startup. Then corporate executives, startup people, entrepreneurs. So this is a place which brings everybody, even authors. Today we're doing a book talk here. So this place is meant for doing many other activities only than the executive space. So yeah, but yeah, a little older than a college crowd. Yes.
Okay. Do you like this format of podcasting? Do you follow any podcasts?
Very little, but I do like this format because it's an open. It's not very it's scripted. That is one which I liked about that. And I've seen some. I think I've liked on YouTube this guy called Samdish. He does long format, and I like the long format. Another 10-15 minutes, and nothing much could be gained out. But the long format, people are going back to long format. They're having long talks on interesting topics. So yeah, I think I like this. And also because of the fact that now it has got both audio and video formats.
Right.
So this is a very different way than earlier. We used to record and then push it up through Spotify on something. But now it is both on Spotify or Anchor, or it could be done on YouTube. So yeah, there is various possibilities of, but more importantly, more meaningful conversations. If you come with scripted 3 questions and answer them and then nothing happens. If you want to have a longer conversation, heart-to-heart talk, I think there is an audience for it, and people would want to watch, despite of the fact that your generation has got an attention span of 3 seconds. That's what the marketers keep telling me, But I do feel that the long format is making a comeback, and if the content is good, if the conversation is engaging, I think there is definite market for people to get engaged there. Yes.
Like how they say that we are addicted to social media and phones. I feel Instagram is a good tool, but it depends on which kind of people we follow.
Right.
I mean, I've gained so much knowledge on Instagram.
Is it?
Yeah. I follow people who post this kind of content.
Okay.
I mean, there's a guy called Dan Walker.
Okay.
He posts about branding.
Okay.
It's very relevant to me. So
okay.
that is why.
Not interesting content. My son follows somebody called Andrew Huberman, and he's a guy who brings a lot of scientific ideas and thoughts, and so much so that today, if I go home at 7, you'll feel like mere ghar ki bijli kat gayi hai. He will switch off all the lights and he'll put up only one particular lamp somewhere. And at 4 o'clock in the morning, he will switch on all lights and take out all the curtains and everything else, because that's how, according to Andrew Huberman, that's how the body cycle works, and clock works, and melatonin and all that. I don't know what all
I know
chemicals, but people do follow some interesting stuff.
I know Andrew Huberman through Beer Biceps.
Oh, is it?
He keeps talking about Andrew Huberman.
That is another one guy. I've seen only the snippet of this guy, but I think he's doing very well. He's doing the kind of people he is invited on his show, and having really good conversations, some controversial, but I think that's the nature of the conversation. So yeah, good.
So sir, you've been founding, you're part of a founding team of so many universities like RVU, OP Jindal, SP Jain. So we are very curious to know, where do you get this motivation and zeal from? I mean, you've been doing this all along, and we know it takes massive amounts of hard work to set up something from scratch.
Right.
So, where do you get this from?
I think rather than a choice, it has come by default to me in the fact that और कोई मुझे कुछ नौकरी नहीं देता है तो सिर्फ शुरू से खड़ा करने की नौकरी मिलता है कि नहीं आ जाओ तो आई थिंक I get jobs like this only nowadays. Nobody wants me in an established institution to make some changes. But at the same time, the motivation is it's always great to paint a fresh canvas, right? It's always great to write on a fresh sheet of paper. So that excitement of doing something new where you don't have a lot of legacy, you don't have a lot of examples to follow. I think that itself is a good high. And I've done it for 15 years and almost 25 years of my work. So I've worked in more startup organizations than in non-startup. So it does give me a kind of a high. At the same time, I think also because as you move along, generations change. Last 25 years, completely 3 to 4 new generations have come. So it also gives me an opportunity to engage with younger generation. When I started teaching, students in my class were born in 1979. Right? Today they're born in 99 and 2000 and onwards. Right? So it's almost a kind of a lifetime if you see. And that allows you to work with a younger generation. Right? So a lot of times my older students tell me that you don't seem to age or you're reverse aging, Dwari. And what is the secret? And I said, because of the simple fact that I work with younger and younger and younger generations. Right? Imagine you guys are born what, 99, 2000?
2003.
Oh my God, even younger. Even younger, right? So imagine that. Imagine that you got an opportunity to engage with a completely different generation. And that itself is a good enough motivation. Plus, at the same time, imagine this country has a gross enrollment ratio of 26%. So all of you who are in the universities are lucky 26%, which means 74% after 12th don't get an opportunity to come to a university or go to a college. Which also tells you the fact that how many universities we need to start, how many different colleges we have to open up, or scale up the existing ones to a level wherein at least 50 to 60% of our population gets an opportunity to get educated. Forget about good education. So I think world needs people like us because we can create from scratch. And more the tribe increase, I feel that we need more people who can create something from scratch. So that is the motivation.
But isn't it a risk for you, like having starting?
But what is not? Working in an organization for 25 years is also a risk of your mental health. Working with the same set of people, doing same thing incrementally again and again and again. I think that's also a risk. Yeah. Right? And I think one thing I've learned over the years is that life is very fickle. So if you keep on thinking this will happen another 10 years, no, I think one should plan for another 3 months, 6 months, 8 months and move along with that. So yeah, my father looks it that way. And he worked in one organization for 30 years. And when I quit an IIM, nobody does in my family a sarkari naukri. And when I quit that IIM, my father was like, how could you do it? I said, because I don't feel I'm contributing, or probably the organization is contributing back to me. I don't think I can add value. Though I was one of the founding guys of that IIM again. And after 5 years, I felt that, okay, I don't think I can do much. And probably I would want to learn more and have enough of the business school education and business school teaching. And I wanted to go a lot more into undergrad space. And that's the reason I moved to Flame and now with RV, that I wanted to do a lot more with the undergraduate space, engage with the younger audience and see if we could impact their lives or probably help them craft their lives and careers. And I think that itself is a big thing. But yeah, Risk is, but what is not? You're taking except Bangalore, where you can't, it moves so slow that you can't, do much of an accident. But even if you move out, it's a risk. So yeah, it is. It is. But this is how you. I'm not saying rationalize it, but how do you think about what risk is?
Right.
Yeah. And look at me, right? End of the day, kuch nahi hua to I'm a teacher, right? I can just go back and start teaching. Or I'm a writer, I can start writing. So, theek hai.
Having a plan B.
But it always helps. At least a set of skills which you can monetize.
Yeah.
Set of skills you can monetize. And that's why you should invest a lot more in yourself and your own skills. Try to do that. I'm trying to become an actor, maybe a third stream of income. Who knows?
So you look like Robert Downey Jr.
As per the AI, not as per the way I do, but yeah.
But no, I have
the AI has created that video images.
No, but even before that, I felt you do look like.
I think Robert Downey Jr. should be happy listening to that.
But even the mannerisms, I've seen his interviews and everything.
Acha, okay.
I feel you would have a similar.
You haven't seen the original, and today I'm supposed to go and watch his movie. Another 3 days, this guy will turn 100, and his name is Devanand.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
So most of my life, I've moonlighted copying Devanand. Okay. And his style of talking and his mannerism, and that's the very reason it's also called Dev, right?
Exactly. I wanted to ask about this. I was going through and I observed Dev. Is it your nickname or what?
I've made it. See, look at this way. My name, even in my generation, was considered old. So my name is Dwarika Prasad Uniyal was considered, even in generation I was born in. The names were Amit, Raj, Rahul, Sandeep, and Vikram. And these are the names, used to be my batchmate's name. And suddenly, you can imagine in a grade 1, somebody saying, Amit, yes, ma'am, Niharika, yes, ma'am, Barnali, yes, ma'am, Vandana, and then suddenly Dwarika Prasad Uniyal comes in and, yes, ma'am, and I said, Arey, ye kaun hai? Pitaji to nahi aa gaya, And so, yeah, so that's always, so my father gave me this name because my dadi, who had visited Dwarika Dham in Gujarat before my birth in my village in Uttarakhand. So I was born in a village, in a cow shed, and lived the initial part of my life there till my father pulled us out, and we lived in a township in Udaipur, near Udaipur, Palzawar mines. But yeah, it was a little old-fashioned name in that sense. But since the time I've started watching movies, black and white ones, and always loved, because my father also loved Devanand then. That hero is his time. But because watched a lot of movies with him, the black and white era, I liked him and I loved him, and even till today. So somewhere in my head, I was always a Dev, right? For the world, I'm whatever I am. But in my head, I was always a Dev, right? So a lot of my mannerisms are copied, including the recent movie I did. And my director, who was my student from SPJ, kept on saying, sir, cut. You sound too much like Devanand. No, we don't want you to copy it. So it has got internalized a lot more. Yeah. A lot more the way the mannerism has gone into. Piyush sir keeps on saying, sir, aapka ek session karte Devanand. And so mannerisms are like that. You don't know. You pick up something.
I mean, he did a documentary on Guru Dutt. So if he ever makes a documentary on Devanand, then you should.
I would act.
Yeah, you would.
Definitely act. Yes, definitely act. By the way, Guru Dutt and Devanand had a very interesting history. So both of them were working in Prabhat Talkies in Pune. That used to be the studio of those times in the late 40s. And one day, so dono ka dhobi same tha. Okay. So one day they were working 2 different departments. Devanand was acting, Guru Dutt was assisting, direction and all those. And suddenly they crossed paths and realized that they are wearing each other's shirts. So Devanand was wearing Guru Dutt's shirt and Guru Dutt was wearing Devanand because those dhobi ne ulti kar di thi. Unke paas those times they just changed. So they said, "Arey, meri shirt hai." Then they started interacting and they became best of the friends. So they promised each other that the day I become director and I get opportunity to become direction, I will cast you as a hero. And Devana said, the day I become a director, I become a producer and an actor, I will cast you as the director. So together they made the movie called Bazi, which was not Devanand's first, but it was produced by Navketan Productions, which is Devanand's production with his brother called Vijay Anand and Chetan Anand. And Gurudat was his first movie was Bazi. And they were very close together. And in the autobiography of Devanand, he's written that the night Gurudat committed suicide, till 8 o'clock they were together. And then he went home, and then that same night. So he was like, if I knew that this guy's gonna do something like this, I would have never left him for that night. So that's one of the biggest regrets of Devanand, is that night when Gurudat could not say much to him, that what's going on in his head. So that's another story. But yeah,
do you believe it was a suicide? Because I've heard it is a...
No, it was. See, a lot of times with people with genius like Gurudat, they live a very complex life. So God gives them something, a lot more, and takes away a lot many other things. So his life was not an ideal life. His life was fraught with failures and lot of heartaches and disappointments and financial trouble and all of that, including many other things in the personal life. So yeah, it was. I think somewhere people feel that they are misunderstood by the world, and maybe if you see the last scene of Pyasa, you'll find out what he's trying to say. But yeah, it was. There's no conspiracy theory there, no. It was, unfortunately, was. He's gone too soon. He was so young and he was so talented. Yeah. But anyway, tell me.
Okay, as you know, we are a part of Open Mic Club. So we've had many juniors coming in after they heard what this club is about. It's about public speaking and communication.
Okay.
So most of the juniors that we have spoken to, they're great students with great ideas and thoughts, but they're very underconfident when it comes to expressing, and they think what others would think, and they have fear of public speaking. So I think you should address them and say something to them.
So first and foremost, I personally believe that you have to conquer your inner insecurities. One of the biggest challenges your generation faces, which I've found out by talking to most of you, your batch, juniors, others, is that you always feel that somebody is judging you. And if that is the starting point, then you will never ever be able to express yourself freely. So the first and foremost is to conquer your own inner demon, saying that even if people are judging me, so what, big deal? Let them. Right? And honestly, nobody is that bothered about you to judge you, yaar. तुम भगवान तो नहीं हो गए तुम्हारे बारे में सोच रहे थे. Nobody is that time. People are so self-obsessed about their own lives. So who's got time about तुम सोच रहे हो कि लोग क्या सोचेंगे, तो फिर लोग क्या सोचेंगे, right? So I think, why is it that happens? That is one. Secondly, I believe that one of the biggest casualties of modern education in last 20 years is the absence of assembly in the school. So schools are actually responsible for you guys feeling underconfident, because तुमको 12 साल में school में opportunity नहीं मिली. School is the place, right, where you go out and talk in every assembly and present yourself and give a talk or read news, or you're always on the stage. So stage fear and all that goes out, because day in, day out. So I went to stage when I was in grade 3. And when I wrote my first poem, it was in grade 4, and I just went to my stage in my Kendriya Vidyalaya, and nobody was judging me. It was my house, and we used to have that houses, right? Whatever they call today, colors or whatever. And so every week, one new house has to present the assembly. So imagine in 10 to 12 years, how many times you got an opportunity to do that. Secondly, a lot of those competitions, which were inter-house competitions and others. So you develop that, many times. मैं stage पे खड़ा हुआ debate में भूल गया वापस आया, all that happens. So you have a lot of failures which happens, but if you just let them affect you, then you got a problem, then you will never go up and do that. So it needs to be seen as a film retake. That is, you can always do a retake, right? अच्छा नहीं हुआ वापस करो, अच्छा नहीं हुआ वापस करो. Who's bothered, right? So that is one. Secondly, it's practice. So if you don't consciously try and figure out and find opportunities to do that, then you will always feel shy. So पहले 4 लोगों के group में बात करो, do a group discussion, then probably make a little bigger group, then probably stand in front of a group and start talking, and then get into an open mic where whole university is listening to you, and then go to the stage where the whole world is listening to you. So I think that requires a bit of self-confidence. And then, of course, you need to develop content, you need to develop practice, you need to develop your voice modulation, you have to develop your body language, the way you stand, where you look at people, feel the nerve, feel the vibes, all that stuff, absorb everything. But it will come with practice. And first step is to start participating in it. Completely oblivious of the fact that even if I fail, right? Who doesn't fail? Tell me, Who doesn't fail? Tell me one person who says, I've succeeded every time in my life. Right? If you look at almost 23 from 89 till 2011, almost, 23, 24 years of career of Sachin Tendulkar. People say he made, 100 centuries and he made 20,000 runs and whatever it is. Or 50,000 runs, I guess, or something. But imagine that how many innings he would have played. Right? Between one day and test in 23 years. Now imagine as many number of innings, how many times he's remained unbeaten? I think less than 10%. That even Sachin Tendulkar gets out. Yeah. Right. Then who are we to say, we don't fail? We do. Or for that matter, look at the ballers, for that matter. Right? Somebody who's like Shane Warne has taken 800 wickets in a lifetime. But how many balls this guy would have bowled to get 800 wickets? So it's like that. You get lucky only 10% of the time. Rest of the time, it's a law of averages, right? You can't be lucky or you can't be successful all the time. So you will fail. You'll fail more often than you will not. But you need to take that initial hiccup and saying that let's not be. See, being judgmental or being constructive, critical is two different things. The problem sometimes with youngsters is that first they can't take criticism or constructive criticism. You're judging me. Arre? Pehle to you always keep worrying somebody's judging you. Secondly, somebody's just trying to help you improve and you take it to the other side of it. So take it with a pinch of salt, and you should have an accountability partner in life who's like not mollycoddling you, saying that yes, you could improve. And I think all of us, every single day, I try to improve on 1,000 things which I'm not good at.
When you talk about judgment, there's this cancel culture going on, if you know. So you're immediately cancelled if you're found judging a little bit. Or if you call, I think about it a lot. Do you subscribe to the ideology that businesses exist only for profit making? Or do you think the products or services should mean something? I mean, it should have an ultimate purpose.
Yes, abhi sabun ka kya purpose hai? To keep you clean, right? And make money out of it. Yeah. No, but see, first and foremost, the purpose of business is to first sustain. Otherwise, they will not be in the business, right? That is it. Yet at the same time, I think if you really look at marketing, what marketing talking about? Marketing is always talking about taking care of your customers. So if you are truly taking care of your customers and creating value for them, then you will not fool them. They will not profiteer out of that, right? And you will be conscious about the fact that you're giving them right kind of products and you're giving them. It's not about, okay, I'm giving them choice. No, A lot of time customers don't know whether they have a choice or not. A lot of time customers will not be aware of the fact that what are the bad impact of that product, right? Remember in my social marketing class, I showed you a video about Coke or a Pepsi or any of that kind of a beverage. And I asked you how many sachets of sugar exist in one small cup. Now you're drinking in day in, day out many of these carbonated beverages or otherwise. The companies can very well say we exist and we give them choice and we give them, यहाँ पे बताया ये सब है. But you can't visualize it. The moment you know कि यार इसमें तो 23 sachet sugar है, इसमें 34 sachet sugar है, I'm not sure the whole family will get diabetes, man. I'm not going to drink that. You'll have it whichever way it is, but you will not be as. So I think the idea of a business is to take care of the customers because you're creating value for them. That is one. Secondly, at what cost? So the mere sustainability shouldn't be a buzzword कि we are becoming carbon neutral and this and that. वो सिर्फ कहानी है. You need to walk the talk and you have to really do. Remember the documentary we saw about one beverage plant in your first year, some of the first sessions when we were talking about pestle. And we looked at the environmental concern and we said, okay, this particular factory is polluting the river.
Right.
You might say, yeah, but you really need to work on these lines as well. So the businesses also need to be a lot more walking the talk rather than merely saying, हमने वहां पे Amazon में पेड़ लगा दिए, हमने यहाँ कर दिया. But ये जिस शहर में तुम बना रहे हो प्रोडक्ट उस शहर को तो पोल्यूट कर ही रहे हो ना. You can कार्बन न्यूट्रलिटी पे तुम बात कर सकते हो कि हमने यहाँ पे तो पोल्यूट कर दिया बैंगलोर में, लेकिन वो हम लोग गए चिली में, वहां पे हमने प्लांट लगा दिया. तो उससे हमारा क्या मतलब? एज ए लार्जर स्केल यू कुड वेरी वेल से. So that also needs to be taken to account. And but yes, businesses need to make profit. And I believe that road to socialism goes via capitalism only. It's only when you have money you can distribute. Right? Only when you have wealth. And hence I'm very big believer of wealth creation. At the same time, once you have it, try and enable and empower others to have it as well. So one of my students whose company became unicorn recently, I was asking him, right, you're young and you're 40 and you've done something like this. And he told me a very interesting thing. He said, sir, it's not about me. It's not about my company becoming a $1 billion valuation. It's about the day top 100 employees of mine will also become millionaires. Then I will see my company really becoming, and of course, helping what the business they are in and whatever they're doing. So I think that way, if you really look at it, the businesses need to be having a lot more social capital and a lot more social heart and conscience. I truly believe that. Yeah. Businesses can't be heartless. Businesses shouldn't.
Right.
So with great power comes great responsibility. Said the Spider-Man. But I think that goes for teachers, that goes for students, that goes for businesses, that goes for people who are destroying wealth, right? Look at the new age businesses which are utilizing huge amount of money to create or generate very little amount of profit for anybody. Who's benefiting from it? Nobody knows. How the business world works, I'm no one to comment on it. But I believe that the idea of a business is to impact this society more positively, either through your products or services or through your efforts to make it a more equitable. You can't make a world equal. You cannot. And that's an utopian socialism. But you should make an equitable world. You should at least provide opportunities to people. Now, for example, if you have money, why spend $40 billion buying something as useless as Twitter? Imagine if you could create, I don't know how many, 400 universities out of $40 billion. 400 universities, each university produces at least 10,000 students. You can impact almost 1 million people's lives doing something useful. And they are for life. What money this $40 billion gonna do with Twitter? All they change its name to X and do whatever, I don't know. So if you have money, do that kind of stuff. But first you need to earn that currency. You can't say uska paisa leke isko de do. Oh, that's a wrong goal. That's how communism used to be. It failed, right? Capitalism works because that's the only flawed model which is there. But then people who have it should work in that direction, is what I'm saying.
There's so many questions when you speak about capitalism and socialism. Do you think the governments, I mean, you don't have to name any, but the political parties are finding it difficult to maintain balance? Both are on the extreme.
See, it's very simple. Socialism will bring you votes, and then through that, then you can do some bit of. But I think world over, if you look at large political, I'm not a political scientist, but if you really look at history in last 60, 70 years, mostly the balance is being survived, right? So if you are a democratic country and you allow free enterprise, my parents' generation did not see any economic growth because of controlled socialism. So we were not a communist country, but we were a very controlled, government-controlled socialist country. And there was no growth because there was no free enterprise. And only monopolies were created, like the Bajaj, the Tatas, the Reliance, and so on. But look at after 1991, look at my generation has benefited immensely because of the opening of this of the economy and because the free enterprise has come in. Look at everything. Look at, you used to have mobile phones, one company making BSNL. Today we have so many. So same goes with every other enterprise. So I believe that government's job is to enable that. Yet at the same time, have enough control that we don't get to see these scams and we don't get to see these whole market meltdown and greed. And so balance needs to be done. If companies are there, probably the government's job is to put some brakes and some checks and balances, not to overtly control it. But you need a regulated market. You need a market regulator. That's why SEBI is a market regulator. RBI is there. So you need those checks and balances. You have monopoly. You have competition commission. You need governments for that. You need governments for that, but not necessarily to start looking at taxing and harassing the businesses. And it needs to be more business friendly. India is still not. You need 1,000 licenses to start a business and all those kinds. It's becoming better. The ease of doing business will become better. But a country like India, you have 1,000 set of people doing 1,000 different things, and so har aadmi kahin na kahin shortcut nikalne ki koshish karta hai. But I believe that democracy first, democratic norms need to be upheld and upheld by everybody, and then the government job is to more enabling and regulation, and let the free enterprise take it. Let the best man or woman win. In that sense, and everything is fair there. You fight competition, do all that stuff. That's how it is. It's not an ideal world, right? We shouldn't be even thinking about it that we can create one. But more equitable, more human,
So now most people believe that we are moving to an AI dominated world. So I have two questions for you. So one is what will be the future of marketing in AI world?
That's a tough one.
And and do you think we are moving towards a scarier world? And because I don't know, it sounds very
No, I don't
dangerous.
think so. See, yes, things will change, and things have started changing a lot more after ChatGPT and others, but it's still a tool.
Yeah.
That is one. Secondly, end of the day, the role of marketing will remain because you still have to create products and services.
Yeah.
And if AI helps you understand consumers better, which original technology of market research and others will not be able to do it, maybe you get better insights and you can create better products. You still have to create products. You have to still create services. Yes, maybe a role of mainstream advertising will change. Maybe role of mainstream digital marketing will change. Social media will change in terms of communicating to the consumers, and you might get that kind of a thing. But you still have to create real businesses. AI can't create business for you. AI is an enabling tool. So there's no doomsday thing happening where you say the world is becoming scarier and how do we live and all that. Boss, imagine this way. We are at least in India, we are an 8,000-year-old civilization, right? We still survived.
Yeah.
And how old is Earth? Billions of
Billions.
years. So do you think it will not survive? It will. It will survive. You and I will not be there. It will still survive. It still do and live. Imagine, even your own grandparents can't imagine the world you're living in, right? Same lifetime. Same lifetime. When I was your age, me and my friends never had a phone. We never had even telephone at home, right? When we started moving to different cities, we would wait till 12 o'clock or 10 o'clock to call up because 1/4 STD charge होता था. STD booth के पास बाहर लगे. यही lifetime है, 20 साल पहले. He and I, or many of us, we couldn't have ever imagined that he would be sitting in California, I'm sitting here, and we can do a video call looking at each other and we can face each other. The same lifetime, the technology has moved and evolved to a level. When we first got email IDs in 95, much before you were born, right? We didn't know who to write an email to because we didn't have anybody to write an email to. We had an email ID, हमने बना दिया, but अभी हम करें क्या उसका? So I think every technology for us, even that was like revolutionary. What you're looking at AI today,
Yeah.
right? Or a technology where I could call up somebody walking when mobile phones came, right? Or where I could, or social media for that matter, which is so young, which is hardly 2007-8. So AI is also would evolve. Yes, it will pose threats to jobs. It will pose threats to new age skills. It will pose threats to a lot of different things. And hence, you have to figure it out that how do you make your life and career AI proof? Right? So that is important for you guys to figure out that what is it in a university I should do as a BCom or a BBA or a BA student or otherwise, or liberal arts or design. That if whatever skill I have in AI takes it over, and then how do I work around it and move towards it? So
Yeah, so there was an AI which actually hires people, but they were scared that HR job will be gone. But no, now HR people actually use this generative AI to
so
get on.
all of us marketing, I created a whole marketing plan using my Gen AI tool with my team, and we even created an advertisement for my executive MBA.
Yeah.
Completely based on AI.
Right.
I wrote the script, but we just used stock footage and we got a voiceover and we got a voice generated voiceover. It just changed it. But that is it a best film? No, not necessarily. We still had film created for Minerva. We created a short hair, a whole 2 days. It took us a lot of money, but the film came out pretty nice because it was created by humans. All right. So what that is something which is needed, that every technology will be disruptive. And the pace of disruption will be faster in your generation than it was in my generation. And hence, it is your coping mechanism to figure it out. How do you deal with it to make friend or a foe or an enemy or a useful tool? You need to be on top of your game to make it use of it. On its own, it can't do much. Right? So that is something which you really need to figure out.
Yeah, so let's talk about your book,
हाँ.
Meenon Ke Pank. I mean, we are South Indians and we
Can't read
struggle
much
to
Hindi.
read Hindi. And even if we manage to read,
हाँ.
I mean, there are complicated words which we won't understand. We can manage Hindi.
हाँ.
But talk about your book. Have you collated all your poems which you've written in the past, or you exclusively wrote it for the book?
No, I collated. So I started writing poetry when I was 9, very young. And for almost 10, 11 years, I wrote extensively in my school days and early part of my college days. But somehow between 1995 and 2015, I stopped writing. I think I got into work. A lot of other things took over precedence. And sometimes, you always need a muse in your life to write, right? It could be life, it could be people, it could be success or a failure in life. And I've faced a lot of failures in my life. So somewhere, I think the whole creative element of my life was gone. So I wrote extensively in 84 to 95, something what a school kid would write, but I was good at it. I used to recite on radio. I used to do radio shows and so on and so forth. But only in 2015 onwards, when I was in Missouri, I was teaching there in the IS Academy. I rediscovered my passion and my interest in poetry again. I started reading more. I started writing more. So Umeedon Ke Pankh is a collection of around 100 odd poems I've written between 2015 till 2020. One or two, or maybe 4 or 5 of them are from the time period of between 93 to 95. I've included some of those old months, but most of them are recent between 2015 till 2020. So I have 3 collections. The first one is out. The other one is with publisher. And I've written one which is a bilingual Hindi English, which will come out maybe end of this year. I've collaborated with a friend of mine. It's a poetry, pictorial poetry book where we have a photograph, and then both my friend and I have written poems on it separately, independently. One is written in English, one is written in Hindi, and then the whole book comes out like that. So it will come out sometime. But yeah, Umeedon Ke Pankh is an interesting milestone because first I really struggled to get it published because I'm not a mainstream author or a writer. Plus, at the same time, I'm also new to publishing poetry and so on and so forth. So yeah, it was an interesting journey, and the name itself has a story about how I wrote this poem on the 2 daughters of my driver in Dehradun, and he told me about their stories, and I was really inspired, and that's how it comes up. So it's got simple poems. If you read, even if your Hindi is weak, you could still make some sense out of it because it's not too layered. The one which is into the publication is a lot more layered. Okay. This is much simpler, and it's about slice of life, right? So as I say in Hindi, ये वो लम्हे हैं जिंदगी के जिन्हें कागज पर उकेर कर मैंने आजाद कर दिया, उन्हें कैद नहीं किया. So Azad isliye because now each one of you will read it differently and make your own interpretation. So each thing you will see it very differently, related with your own life experiences rather than mine. So that's the charm of poetry, right? Unlike prose, story है तो वो जैसी लिखी है वैसी पढ़ोगे, right? And you would always want to. That's how the writer is trying to feed his ideas in your head. But that's not poetry is. Poetry is about your own thoughts, your own expression. So you write poetry for self. If it resonates with you, with the audience, you've succeeded. But at the same time, you will not read it to know me.
Yeah.
You'll read it and link it up with your own life experiences. Right? So if you had a great moment, you will link with that. If you had a heartache, right, or you have something else, or you are a failure, or you are a success, or something else, or even metaphors. Each of the metaphors I've used in the book, sometimes you will always link it up with your own way. So yeah, that's how it is. That's how it is. And I believe that I have a very strong urge to write, and I'm lucky, one of the fortunate ones, where I could express myself, all my thoughts, emotions. So a lot of people have different expressions. My son makes movies. My wife is a painter. So she expresses everything into a visual medium. For me, it's a written medium of a poetry. I can't write long essays or articles or stories or whatever. I just write a couple of lines and the burden is out, right? So so for me, it is important. It's as important as my career, as important as me being a teacher for so many years. So poetry, I've rediscovered it. I've found it again. I hold it very close to my heart. So a lot of times people used to say to me, "Oh, you are a dean who writes." I said, "No, I'm the poet who gets paid by the dean." So yeah. So for me, it's like so I've written a few lines. It's there in my book as well. कि मैं लिखता हूँ क्योंकि ख्याल को बेवजह मन में सोच कर जाया नहीं. मैं लिखता हूं क्योंकि ख्याल को बेवजह मन में सोचकर जाया नहीं करते, ख्याल को हवा लगनी चाहिए, उसे कलम की निब से कागज पर उकेर कर जिंदा रखना जरूरी है। फिर चाहे ख्याल की कलम की निब से निभे न निभे, मैं लिखता हूं क्योंकि ख्याल को बेवजह मन में सोचकर जाया नहीं करते. And hence I always have also, so most of my poems are imperfect. They're not grammatically correct or otherwise, or they're not beautiful language or otherwise. Because I believe that that's my limitation. And whatever has come to my mind, I will just write it up. So many times the publishers, a lot of big poets have told me that ये अधूरी सी है, इसको परफेक्ट करो, थोड़ा ठीक करो, इसको ठीक बजाओ, इसको ये चेंज करो. एंड आई फील दैट वो एक आइडियोलॉजिकल स्टैंड है, मतलब वो मे बी फिलोसफिकल, नॉट आइडियोलॉजिकल, फिलोसफिकल स्टैंड है. मुझे लगता है उसको इम्परफेक्ट ही रहना चाहिए. प्रोज को परफेक्ट करते रहो आप, बिकॉज किसी और ने पढ़ना है और एग्जैक्टली वैसे ही पढ़ना है. ये तो आपने लिखा है, आप हाँ ऑथेंटिक है, मतलब फिर आप उसको चेंज करते रहो ना, कॉस्मेटिक ये चेंज करो, वो चेंज करो, ऐसे बनाओ, वर्ड को चेंज करो. देन आई थिंक if you're doing it professionally, for like if you're a Javed Akhtar or a Gulzar, and not writing poetry but film songs, maybe you want to do that. But if they're writing poetry, I'm sure. But then other set of people are that if you are writing it for yourself, then why are you publishing it? Because other people are going to read it, and if it's not perfect, then why should you bring that out in front of people, right? So those are philosophical ways of looking at it. I feel let it be imperfect, because so is life. So are we. Are we perfect? No, we are not. We have 1,000 things in our lives which are not necessarily good, or we feel good about it. That's the way it is.
Sir, does the cover page have any meaning to it?
It does. It does. It does. It's painted by my wife, Sneha Nautiyal. Oh. And if you see a few elements of this, so there is a hand and there is a firefly, right? So Jugnu. Then you see the stars, and you see the sun. So can a firefly, umidon ke pank means wings of hope, right? So can a firefly have a hope of touching the sun one day, right? And that's what I said कि सपनों को उड़ने के लिए हवाई जहाज का टिकट नहीं लगता, बस पलकों को उम्मीदों के पंख चाहिए, right? So I think that's where it signifies that. Yeah.
Finally,
just
last question. Not a question, but we all wonder, like most of us wonder, how do you have this infectious aura? Like when you walk into class, you have this great command over class, which, I'm sorry to say, but some professors are not that engaging in class. But how do you maintain students, and how do you engage them?
But that was not always the case. You're seeing me in my 25th year of teaching. Right? You haven't seen me in my first year of teaching. Right? So if you speak to my students who would not even treat me as a faculty or as a professor, I was 25 when I started teaching. I'm 50 now, so you see the difference. Right? I was very tentative. I was very young. I was trying too hard when I started teaching in my time. I didn't have command over my body. I didn't have command over my command over the subjects I teach. So I think with the experience that comes, that is one. So one should not compare, because you also need to see at what life stage that faculty is. That is. Secondly, there is a personality issue. Not everybody is outgoing. Not everybody has got non-fear of being judged. But when I was young, I was fearful of being judged, which got reflected in my ratings back then, and I'm sure students back then, they love me now, but back then they didn't kind of enjoyed my session as much. Yet at the same time, I'm in the profession of teaching because I've thought. And I had some great teachers, especially in the school days. In college and others, because I didn't go to great colleges, I didn't have great teachers, good teachers, not necessarily inspiring teachers. But I had good inspiring teachers in my school. And whenever I look back at my life and think that am I doing justice to what I signed up for? That is. Second, I believe that merely because I've ended up doing PhD or otherwise I should be teaching. No, I should be teaching because of the fact that I have a very inherent urge to share and to learn. And being very mindful of the fact that the responsibility you have. I believe that there are three professions where people need to go with right kind of attitude and passion. If you're not passionate about teaching, don't become. If you're not passionate about the fact that you want to create an impact in people's lives or learn from new generation, don't have a baggage or an ego too high or too big. Nobody knows enough. Can ever know enough. Which means every single day we go and we learn something new. So medicine, defense, and teaching. I believe that one needs to go into for right reason and needs to be a teacher for life. My English teacher, Mrs. Mahapatra, even today she sees me in many of my public appearances and she criticizes me. तेरा हाथ वहाँ पे ठीक नहीं था. तो बार-बार अपने कान में क्यों हाथ लगा रहा था? Right? तेरा diction सही नहीं था. She still corrects me. Imagine she taught me in 1985. How many 40 years? Yeah. She's still corrects. She's teachable. So I come from that old school of thought. And first, over the years, I've believed and started to realize. And that happens because I've taught in diverse institutions. Many teachers you would have seen or you're comparing, they don't have that kind of a diverse experience. I've taught in 55 institutions. How many people have taught students from schools to undergrad education, postgrad, exit education, to bureaucracy, to even senior. So that range is very much there. Each class is different, each audience is different, each reaction is very different. I didn't get a great reaction when I went to the IAS Academy initially because I was not an IAS officer, so I was judged. I didn't have same confidence as I had in an IIM classroom as I should have that in a bureaucratic classroom because they were judging me for not being an IAS officer and coming to the class and teaching. You see that? Gen Z, and they are I don't know what generation, right? As an institution. Plus, engineering colleges have their own way of living life and doing things and others. So first we have to figure out how do they see you guys, right? Do they see you as somebody who's just come in and like occupying the space or doing 1,000 different things, and that is one. So first is before collaboration, I think there needs to be more communication between both the groups, and you have to find ways to invite you to your campus. The more they come to your campus and start seeing this interesting stuff you do, more they will start respecting you. More they start respecting you, then they can start collaborating. That is one. Secondly, I feel because it's not an engineering college, luckily, though we have computer science, but it's not a typical engineering college. We, as a RV, we are very beautiful, multi-faculty, multidisciplinary unit. So we have got a law school, we have got a school of economics, school of business, design, liberal arts, computer science, and now film and others. So I think various competitions could be a really good way to start bringing them to your campus and start doing it. Secondly, whenever you see a lot of competition happening and you need to participate in engineering competitions or business school competitions or larger university competitions, probably you could go out to some of these guys and saying that we want to partner because they can bring some really good element. Like you can bring your business sensibilities, they can bring their technological superiority in certain areas, and you can collaborate there. That is one way of collaboration. Secondly, I think your public speaking, open mic can be a great platform to bring people together. When you create an open mic environment or have some of these guys join you as part of podcast. So it shouldn't be between student and faculty. It could be also student and student saying that, okay, demystifying RVCE. We don't know what happens in RVC. We live in the same campus, but we are like off boundaries. And you don't come often to my campus, so we don't know how we live, right? And you can talk about idiosyncrasies of what you guys do, and they can talk about what all fun these guys do beyond engineering. I think except engineering, they do everything, right? That's the nature of engineering colleges. So I think those are the ones where you could, or maybe theater and that film. You could collaborate making films together. You could start collaborating making designs together. You could start collaborating in participating in competitions together. And last, when all that happens, probably if you have a great business idea and you want to collaborate on a business plan, or you would want to do a startup, maybe RBC guys they have a e-cell or they have some startup cell or whatever. Go and check out with them, talk to them, figure it out. Who are the set of people? Because you don't have to interact with 6,000. You have to engage with 6 first. As 6 of you can engage with 6 of them, I think that flows. And once that happens, I think you can have a really great combination because they are really good with what they do. And you can be very good at what you know, especially in terms of entrepreneurial ideas, thoughts, business, marketing, communication, design, filmmaking. You guys are pretty good at all of this. So I think there you could very well have a great understanding of that. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Always welcome. I hope it was a afternoon well spent.
Yeah, very well. And I mean, most of the time when we converse with you, we get good insights. It's just not a bland conversation. So I just wanted to put it on record so most people get to listen.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was.
Good. I hope it was useful, and I think I'll read something for you guys.
Yeah, please.
And something different, something different, something you've not read.
Okay.
Yeah, something easier also, I think, which is like you can relate to rather than saying it's too much of Hindi and you can't understand much of it. Okay, easier for you guys. And especially about the fact that our generations, we talk a lot, but we don't. So we say a lot, but we don't talk. So कविता का नाम है शायद हम बातें करना भूल गए. राइट. हम बोलते जरूर हैं, कभी चीखते हैं, कभी चिल्लाते हैं, मन ही मन मिमियाते हैं, दिल मसोसते हैं, कभी दुनिया कभी खुदा को कोसते हैं, मगर बातें नहीं. जाने क्या क्या सोचते हैं, जाने किस किस को टोकते हैं. We always keep on finding faults in others. किसी की पोस्ट को लाइक तो किसी को ट्रोल करते हैं. कभी अपनी कभी जमाने भर की कुंठाओं का ठीकरा फोड़ते हैं, कभी फेक आउटरीच करते हैं, मगर बातें नहीं करते. कभी गलियों में, कभी अड्डों में, बच्ची कुची कसर टीवी के डिबेट में, कभी सड़क में, कभी संसद में, शादियों के मंडप में, बस बोलते डोलते हैं मगर बातें नहीं करते. आओ जरा चाय की चुस्कियों पे, सर्द गरम सुस्तियों में, कुछ अपनी कहें, कुछ उनकी सुने, कुछ सोचें, कुछ समझें, एक पल रुकें, दूजे में मुस्काएं. ऐसे ही बिना मतलब के बतियाना अच्छा है. और फिर बातें करने और बातें बनाने में फर्क है ना. So that's how. So you guys need to talk and talk more and engage with each other. And as a youngsters, as your juniors, I think you're the first batch, and I'm very proud. Next year you're going to graduate. I think you have a huge responsibility to pass on right messages to the younger generation who's joining RVU, and you're the pioneering batch who's going to graduate. So engage with them, bring them on board. Open mic is a great platform. And if you're doing a real open mic and physical space sometime, I will open for you. Okay. So I'll make an effort to come all the way there and I'll open it.
That means a lot. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Thank
all
you.
the best.
Thank
Chalo. Thank you.